The following contains discussions of suicide and mental and emotional abuse. Viewer discretion is advised. Ian Lightfoot and Marcus Ortiz. Questionably the cutest couple on TikTok, they're using their platform to spread love. Marcus was born in an open-minded family and grew up just outside Los Angeles, to two parents who not only accepted but supported his LGBTQ+ status. However, Ian was not as lucky, growing up in an extremely religious conservative Christian family who lived in a small rural Californian town with only 10,000 residents. He was homeschooled till his junior year in high school and had very little support in his youth. Despite polar opposite upbringings, the two found each other in college and now share their relationship online to encourage other young LGBTQ+ youth to live their true and authentic lives. Ian and Marcus! Yes!
Hello!
Alright guys, how you doing today?
We're doing great, how are you?
I'm well. You guys just had a cross-country gay trip across the United States. How did that go?
We called it a road trip with rainbows.
Yes, we did. It was super fun. We drove all the way from New York to Los Angeles in
5 days.
5 days.
Were there any specific moments that stuck out to you across your trip that you want to share, or that stuck out as like crazy stories you want to tell?
The one that sticks out to me is that we went to Denver and we stayed with my aunt.
Yes.
And she's kind of like my only family that is really supportive of the queer community. And so we got to stay with her and we got to hang out with my little baby cousins, and we both fell in love with Colorado and we want to move there.
It's amazing. Like, we want to live there now forever.
Well, this is changing a bit of the sphere of our pre-interview that I spoke to you guys. You wanted to be New York babies for life as far as it's concerned right now. What is it about Denver that kind of stuck with you guys that you enjoyed so much?
Marcus really likes the country and I really like the city, and I feel like Denver and like Colorado in general is a really good mix of both. And it's like everybody's kind of accepting and they do their own things and it's really laid back. And then obviously having family there is cool too. I don't know.
It's just, I think it's gorgeous. Like, it's
Yeah.
the nicest, most beautiful part of the country that I've ever been to. It's like, I don't know, the Rockies, the greenery.
So, Marcus, why don't we go back in time and learn a little more about what your experience was growing up?
I grew up in a little small town outside of LA. It's called Torrance. It's right by the beach. And I guess I lived a fairly normal lifestyle. I've had very supportive and loving families. My parents divorced, so I've had like two sets of parents growing up. When I came out, they were both extremely supporting. There wasn't really any like crazy story like Ian's. My parents were very just supportive of me. They loved me no matter what, and they made sure that they did everything they could to support me. And so I came out during high school. And also during high school, I kind of like found this huge passion for music, and it helped give me so much confidence being like the only out person at school. Just being able to listen to music and get so much confidence from the artists that I've listened to helped me really accept who I was and be okay with being the only outed person at school. And it like, I kind of felt cool being the one that was outed and like kind of like the role model for all the other, closeted.
What I find as I've interviewed more and more young LGBTQ+ is that there's three kind of stories that emerge. There's one type of person who is very much closeted for whatever reason. That might be religious purposes, family. That might be because that they're in a very toxically masculine environment. They might play heavy sports like football or basketball where that's not accepted in their community. There's this type who's a little bit more middle ground, who is, there aren't those outside pressures to them, but they come out kind of in their own time. It seems to be earlier than others, but they're also not like super flamboyant gays. And then there's also, people who I feel like I would have been if I didn't have those initial pressures in my life, which is that they're just loud and proud from a very early age. Everybody always knows they're gay and there's no hiding it. Again, if you're in a cult, like, you'll find out me and Ian were in, that's a little bit different, but, for everybody else, it can be loud and proud. So you kind of fall in that middle ground where it wasn't anything that to be ashamed of, but it did take a little bit of time for you to discover. May I just ask you, when did you know that you were gay? Because there's a lot of young people questioning their sexuality, and when did you put a label on it? Because some people might say, oh, I'm bi, I'm this, I'm that, or I just like that one person,
In elementary school, you go to school with these people forever, and then you go to middle school and you see new people, and going into middle school, my parents told me, your body's going to go through changes. It's puberty. You're going to feel different. Don't worry. You can talk to us about anything. And I realized that I started looking at boys more than girls. And so for me, I was like, oh, this is just a change that my parents were talking about. I feel different and it's nothing to worry about. And so for a while, I thought it was just a phase that I was going to grow out of. And then I think it was really 8th grade that I realized, okay, this has been a pretty long phase. I think I'm gay. And I like began to kind of come to terms with that. It was hard at first because it was like, okay, this wasn't what I expected for me. But my parents always reassured me and told me that it was okay to be like this. There was nothing to be ashamed of. And so in 8th grade, I would say, is when I really realized that what I was feeling was gay. It was me being gay. Yeah.
What a label to put on it. What I felt I was feeling was gay. And we can say that because you are.
Coming up next on Timo After Hours, Ian details what it was like growing up gay in a conservative Christian cult and how he escaped despite severe depression and suicidal thoughts.
I got to a point where I ended up being hospitalized because my mental health had just gone down the drain.
You know, 12-year-old thinking he's going to hell and there's nothing he can do. Talk about the weight of the world on someone.
And later, Marcus tells his fairy tale story of finding love at first sight. All this and more on the next Timo After Hours. Subscribe with push notifications on so you don't miss the video. Click the green to see the next episode in the series, purple to see the full series playlist, and blue to subscribe. Until next time, I'm Timo Bach, and keep your smile side up. If you don't want to wait to see future episodes, no need. Subscribe to Patreon now, and you can get access to all 5 episodes of Ian and Marcus' story and future content for as little as $5 a month.